Hi, welcome to Brain Wrestling. I am Derek Christopher. I'm here with the effervescent Walter Jacobson. Walter.
Yes, sir.
The Supreme Court needs to be broken apart. It's corrupt. Everybody needs to be kicked off. And this whole idea that they have lifelong tenure needs to go because it's allowing corruption to seep in to these guys.
Okay, so good point. What would you do in its place if you got rid of the lifelong deal? How would you structure it? How would you? When would you replace them? And what would be the criteria or whatever? Have you thought about that?
Well, I it's so hard because when you're in something long enough that you think it normalizes the criminal activities. It normalizes Clarence Thomas having rich billionaires buy his mother's property. It normalizes Ginny Thomas making $1.6 million.
No. The point is, what do you do if you say term?
I don't know what to do. I don't know.
So term limits, you're basically saying.
Well, term limit, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Okay. So right, not packing the court, just term limits.
No, you can't pack the court because where does it end then?
Right.
Where does it end?
Okay, so 6 years, 8 years. How long do you do this?
12 years.
12 years, and then do we the people elect them, or are they still like?
Well, that's a good question because I think people are too stupid to pick Supreme Court nominees.
So it's going to come down to who's the president at the time.
Yeah, I think I don't know how you change that.
Right.
I don't know how you change that. But you know what? Obama, who I know you're not a fan of, he completely got submarined with his Supreme Court pick because the Republicans gaslighted him for 9 months, 10 months, wouldn't let him get the pick. Now, if it were reversed, the Republicans would be all up in arms. Oh, they're keeping us back. They're suppressing us.
Let me just qualify something. As I voted for Obama twice.
Yeah.
But he's disappointed me now because he's not a voice of reason anymore.
Why?
Because he comes out and says stuff that's just not true.
Like what?
Like that Biden's competent and has energy and should be
he's
reelected.
The party line.
No, he doesn't. No, he doesn't.
He does.
No, he doesn't.
Well, what's he going to say?
He's going to say.
He's going to say like Joe is got dementia.
But that's what. That's what the problem with the whole system is. No one wants to tell the truth, so we get stuck with losers over and over again.
But on both sides.
Yeah, it's bad.
It's really bad.
Yeah, we got to
wait. Let's go back to the Supreme Court first.
Okay.
Calm down. Calm down. What do we do? Because when you have Alito accepting gifts, you have Thomas accepting gifts, and they're absolutely compromised when they're doing business in the court with these people.
It's total conflict of interest, but everybody has conflict of interest. That's the problem. When you start going after the Supreme Court and say you guys are corrupt, then you got to start looking at Biden and you got to look at other people too.
But you have to, as a person, I mean, if you're a banker or if you're a lawyer, you don't take kickbacks, you don't take bribes because then you get.
Yeah, but in government they all do it. They all do it.
But how do we stop it?
I don't know.
Because I don't know if you saw the Supreme Court case with this the wedding cake that they said this person can turn down. First of all, I think this woman is full of shit because I don't think she ever had a customer that wanted a gay wedding cake. I think this was a precursor to her. That's what I was reading. Huh. That they said that it may not even be an actual case where somebody came to her, that she sort of jumped the gun and wanted to make sure that she had her religious freedom, blah, 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 blah. But why, where does it stop then? So if you don't want to make a gay cake, do you have to make an interracial cake?
No, I have to. I'm totally. it sounds like you're saying it's wrong, that their decision was wrong, and and I agree with that. It was wrong.
Well, you know what? I'm a fan of people should be able to do business with who they want to.
Oh, you are?
I am.
So there's okay then.
I don't know. That's why I'm throwing this by you, because I don't know what the right answer is.
Okay, I think the right answer is they shouldn't be allowed to discriminate against people because they don't like them. Because now, no, I'm not going to make a cake for you. Now I'm not going to sell food to you. Now I'm not going to rent this house to you.
But is it a First Amendment issue? Because that's what the Supreme Court was declaring.
How's it First Amendment?
Because when you're doing a cake, they said that you're expressing your creativity. Whereas if you go to a hotel, that's no expression of creativity.
That's complete bullshit. That's what they use to I didn't see this. That's what they use to prop up their position.
That's what they use to prop. That's
it's the First Amendment.
Yeah, that's what. Yeah.
That's idiotic. I think it comes down to, I think, equal protection under the law.
Now, if Clarence Thomas went to this baker and said, "I want you to create a wedding cake for me and Ginny," and she said, "You're a black dude and you married a white woman." No, I don't think so. There would be a fucking firestorm about this thing But because it's gay and lesbian, well, it gets a pass somehow.
I think it's a bad precedent to set where people can discriminate against other people. It's just wrong, and they shouldn't allow that.
And it's just like they allowed the coach that wanted to pray on the field. But I think that was an interesting case because it was after the game. So they said it's no different than after the game. If you want to call somebody on your phone and you want to yell at somebody, you can do that. You're not doing it during the game. You're not forcing anybody to do it, which leads me, and really not related, but it got me thinking about the whole Pledge of Allegiance thing. That when you were in school, did you have to say the Pledge of Allegiance every morning?
Yeah.
And so did I. Why don't we do that anymore?
I don't know.
Is it a problem? Should kids be forced to say the Pledge of Allegiance in class? No. I say yes.
Yes?
Yeah.
Why?
Because you should have pride in your country. You should have pride in America. You should have pride. Whether you agree with everything or not isn't important. Whether you agree with who's president or not, it's still the office of the presidency. You should have somewhat respect.
Under God?
Under God.
You use those words too?
Under God. And look, we've talked about this before. I don't know how I feel about God with a lot of things that have gone on.
And yet he still loves you.
How do you know that?
Well, how do I know that?
Yeah.
Because he's God.
But I think that we've lost our moral compass.
Absolutely.
In this country, as a society, as people. And I think that it's okay. Not everybody has to agree with everything that they do. I mean, sometimes it's okay to
okay, look, they have to, the Supreme Court, all the corruption you're talking about, there has to be a governing body, a special counsel when these things come up to look at these things and basically get rid of people who are taking stuff, bribes inappropriately.
But how do you do that? How do you get rid of a Thomas? How do you get rid of an Alito?
Well, that's what I say.
And who decides what the governing body is?
I know it's complicated, but just ignoring it and letting the news cycle pass.
Do you let the
is not
people
good.
decide?
Well, I think ultimately it's a democracy, and the people should have a say in it.
But they don't.
They don't now. I mean, yeah, people are total pawns.
And how many more decisions is the Supreme Court going to make where it is compromised, where it's going to go on the side of people that have brought them somewhere, that have brought them gifts, they've traveled around the world?
It's a huge problem, and I think we have to come up with some sort of regulatory, rules, a board that investigates these complaints. And if they're true, these people, something has to happen. There have to be consequences of bad behavior.
Are you proud to be an American?
Yes.
And why aren't people proud anymore?
Because they've been indoctrinated by the left to think that we're
bad. Why do you always go to the left?
Systemic racism. This is a crappy country. These people are awful in America.
But do you really think the Republicans are rah, 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 we love America? Or is it all about the money and the power?
Everything.
They're both evil in different ways.
Yes.
So the idea that you always just say the left and the woke, look, I agree with you on a lot of the stuff about the wokeness and the left and all that stuff. But at the same time,
why would I shift my position if it wasn't like
insanity?
No, a total shock to the system. How the Democratic Party has changed. They're not the party that we grew up with, even though you didn't like that party back then. It's not like the JFK party. It's something else now.
But JFK was corrupt. Look how corrupt JFK was.
They all are.
But what's the difference?
You got to try to find.
Why was it okay when JFK was running for office and was totally corrupt and they had dead people voting in Chicago? But it's not okay now when Biden is in there and doing stuff.
Who said it was okay then?
Well, you supported it then.
Well, first of all, I was 13.
Well, I know, but I'm talking about in theory. In theory. Yeah, but you supported fucking Jimmy Carter.
I did?
Didn't you?
Well, I voted for him.
Well, that's supporting him.
Not necessarily.
So why'd you vote for him then?
Look at all the people.
You voted for Jimmy Carter over Reagan.
Of course.
Wow. Why?
Well, for one thing,
I wasn't old enough to vote.
For one thing, he had dementia, and Nancy Reagan.
Oh, okay.
And Nancy.
In 1980?
Yes, and Nancy was.
Why is it everybody's got dementia?
Nancy was telling him what to do, and she had like an astrologer telling her what to do.
Did she have Miss Cleo or something?
Yeah, so we had an astrologer running the country.
But
what?
But how much of the downfall came from when Reagan was in office, with the economy, with the budget, with the
you had a problem with trickle down economics?
Yeah, trickle down economics doesn't work. Obviously.
Look, Reagan.
Who was the last great president?
The last great president?
Yeah. Who was the guy that actually made America better? Wow. Look at that silence.
Who do you tell me?
I don't know.
I think they're all scum, okay?
I think that they all brought something different at the time. I think the country needed Reagan at the time because I think America was so down in the dumps with the Iranian hostage crisis and the oil embargo. And
yet Reagan and Reagan and George Bush were involved in the Iran-Contra thing.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, so they were corrupt too.
Absolutely.
And they were into warmongering and money.
Well, and the whole Iraqi war was bullshit. I mean, the fact that there were no weapons of mass destruction. I mean, we went into Iraq, we went into Afghanistan. We had absolutely no reason to go into any of those countries. And we created, and a lot of what's going on today is because of that. It's a lot of Republican policies.
Let me ask you something. What are we doing in Afghanistan? What are we doing?
Not that we shouldn't be there.
Billions of dollars, lives lost.
Because we want the oil.
Is it the oil?
It's the oil. What else would it be?
Well,
we want their women.
Getting rid of Putin and his regime. I think that's what they're trying to do here, destabilize Russia. But what a waste of money and manpower. And why are we doing this? Why do we keep doing this?
You know, he's laughing because I said we want their women.
What?
Because I said we want their women, so he's laughing at that. That made me laugh. But I say what you're pointing at about Putin.
Oh, dear me. Where are we?
And Afghani women, though, they are beautiful.
Well, look, everybody is behind this. Americans seem to be behind this Afghanistan, this Ukrainian war, and it's a mistake. And
is Putin going to be assassinated?
Wait a second. Initially, it was said that we were going in to protect democracy, but the Ukraine is, Zelensky just shut down elections. This guy's a fascist. It's so amazing.
So do you allow Putin to take over Ukraine?
No.
So what do you do?
You know what we should?
What do you do?
What we should do?
And don't give me this about in 24 hours. I would have everything resolved if I were in there. Bullshit.
Well, I think what we should do is tell the United Nations to grow a pair of balls. And,
well, the United Nations is useless.
Well, shouldn't they come together and say we need to stop this war?
Are they woke?
And we should put pressure on everybody to economically, all these two countries, and ostracize them?
So why don't they?
I don't know. Because war is
getting paid.
Because war is good.
Paid?
Exactly. Yeah. War is good.
Yeah. Well, war is good for every country.
Yeah, it's good money.
War is good for every country.
Yeah. But people look what it's bankrupting us. You know, every time he throws $500 million to them, it's coming out of our pockets. Inflation goes up. Now eggs cost an extra $2 or $3 a dozen.
Well, look how gas has been $4.50 here in California for how long? It's bullshit.
And yet Biden comes out and says, "Hey, look, everybody, Bidenomics is great. Bidenflation doesn't
Gavin
exist."
Newsom's doing the same thing here. I don't see anybody doing anything in California about it. It's like California where people can't afford it. I mean, what was it just saying that 1/3 of all homeless people live in California?
It's so amazing. It's amazing.
And he wants to make it a sanctuary state. And you know why he wants to make it a sanctuary state? Because he makes more money making it in a sanctuary state. The more people we can take in that shouldn't be here, they can get more money from the government.
Gavin Newsom is is despicable. He's a liar. He's a hypocrite.
But he's incredibly well spoken.
He's good looking. He's got nice hair.
Well, that's your personal thing. He does have nice hair. I'm still trying to figure out how he banged Guilfoyle and now Trump Jr. is banging Guilfoyle.
That's pretty crazy stuff.
That woman's vagina is like, it's a cross between an elephant and a donkey.
You went there?
I went. Do you think Newsom's going to run?
Not this time. As long as Biden's in there, he's not going to run.
Do you think Biden's really going to run?
Party man. Well, unless he has some serious problem between now and then.
Well, we have over a year? We have a year and a half before the election.
He could theoretically decompensate significantly in this next year.
You mean physically or mentally?
Mentally. If you look at 2 years ago, he's not as coherent now
he's not.
as he was
Look,
then.
I voted for Biden.
Yeah.
And I voted for Trump before then.
Yeah.
But I see Biden now and it scares me because I like the guy. I know you have a whole bunch of issues with him. I don't have those issues with him. I like the guy. And I just don't think that he can run. And the fact that Kamala Harris would be a VP on that ticket again is fucking scary.
It's really scary. She's a complete moron. And everybody is...
And the lowest rated vice president in history now.
Yeah. But it doesn't seem to matter to the people. That's how stupid they are.
Because people don't want to know. They don't want to learn. They don't want to pay attention.
The problem is, but the the mainstream media is saying that Biden is good. He's vigorous. He's sharp. Even Newsom said, I saw an interview recently. He goes, "Oh, I've communicated with him. I've been in a bunch of meetings."
He has to toe the party line, just like they toe the party line for Trump.
Do you remember JFK's book, Profiles in Courage?
Yes.
It was all about people standing up and saying the truth and the right thing, even if they lost their job.
Yeah.
That's courage.
But that doesn't exist in America anymore.
I know.
That doesn't exist anywhere anymore.
I know. That's wrong.
And we're never going to get back to it.
Why not?
Because we're too busy being furries and personas and you know male holograms.
If we had an ethical leader, it could work.
What ethical leader is going to be elected today?
RFK Jr.
Never going to happen. Never going to happen.
We're going to keep coming back to this argument for like another year.
I give it 6 months and he's banging Guilfoyle. She's going to make the rounds on every party.
Can you put my name in the mix?
Yeah. Believe me, there probably is a list. There probably is a list. So Biden, I think, is too old.
Right.
And I don't think he's going to have the capacity in a year and a half. Trump is too old.
Yes.
There should be a limit.
Yeah.
An age limit on the presidency.
Well, possibly, but I think really the critical thing is actually to have a medical and mental competency exams.
I agree. I agree.
And transparent, so we can all see, and not done by Biden's friend, Dr. Friend.
But there's nothing transparent anymore. I mean, Biden doesn't release his medical records. Trump doesn't release his medical records. I don't know if DeSantis will. They should release their medical records. They should release their taxes. They should release everybody that they've ever done business with in their life.
Yeah.
And there should be an independent board of Democrats, Republicans, and independents that go through it and they give their assessment of it. It's not that fucking difficult.
I know. You vet somebody if you're going to buy something from them. You go to you find out whether they're legitimate or not. But we don't do that with the president.
I think there should be a Jacobson Christopher ticket in 2024. I think you and I could bring common sense back to this country.
We could. I'm ready. Sign me up.
Chris Christie, gonna happen or no?
Oh no, of course not.
Who else was running?
Well, Pence is running.
Oh, Pence is nothing's going to happen with Pence.
Well, no.
Pence is a big pussy. Pence, you know what? Pence didn't. He wants to act like he stood up to Trump at the time. He didn't stand up. He was fucking calling Dan Quayle for advice. When you call Dan Quayle for advice, you're done.
Look, the thing is, all of these 11 Republicans or so that are running, none of them have a chance except DeSantis, in my opinion. But they're all running because they're going to get money and attention.
Yeah.
And that's why they're running.
Yeah.
It has nothing to do with
it lifts their profile.
They're never going to
go to a speaking tours.
They're never going to win.
They can go write books.
Yeah.
They can't win. What happens if Trump gets elected again? Where does the country go?
It's not going to be pretty. It's going to be more divisive. It's going to get uglier. There'll probably be riots. It's going to be a big problem. That's why people should appreciate the fact that Trump has to go. You got to put somebody else in the Republican Party. That's why I'm thinking DeSantis is the closest to Trump, so to speak.
But DeSantis is like a whiny little.
Why do you say that?
Bitch, because he gets up there and he whines. Don't say gay and Disney and stuff. You know what Republicans should care about? The economy, jobs, and the stock market. Everything else, I don't want to hear about. I don't want to hear about trans issues, gay issues, religious issues. That's all emotional stuff. You know what? Keep people employed, get the middle class going again, keep the economy running, keep the stock market going up, period. That's all they should be talking about.
Now, isn't that what Trump did? Wasn't he good at that?
No, because he inherited a good economy from Obama. Whether you want to admit it or not, Obama was shit on international issues, but domestically, he saved us. His policies brought us back. And if you go look at the last few presidents who actually were good for the economy, they're all Democrats, which is inexplicable to me, but it is. I mean, Clinton was the only president that actually left us with a surplus.
Okay, so up until now, because Biden is not good for the economy.
Well, we don't know. You know what we're coming out of? Both Trump and Biden have the albatross around their neck of the pandemic.
No, but look at all the spending Biden has done. All the
money spending that Trump did.
No.
Yeah.
No,
you can't dismiss one
Biden's inflation act about billions and billions of dollars out the window.
But inflation was up around the world, and inflation's down 2 points in the last year or two.
You don't blame Biden for inflation?
You think Biden's responsible for inflation in England and France and everywhere else?
I don't know about that. All I know is
that's what I'm saying. That inflation was up everywhere in the world.
It doesn't matter.
Of course it does.
He's printing money like crazy.
But if there's inflation that's consistently high around the world, it's not just one leader that's doing it.
Okay, so you can.
It's a world economy.
No, it's the
Yes.
each individual country is just doing the same.
Name one country that thrived that didn't have high inflation when everybody else did.
You can't possibly
name one. Name one country.
Do you
and give me
think?
the
Do you
figures.
think printing money is a good thing?
No, but that's what started with Reagan. We printed money nonstop back then.
Yeah, and now,
we've never stopped except for Clinton.
Well, if you don't
Name
see
one country that didn't have high
see
inflation.
a relationship,
Give me specifics.
You're not being.
I love
You're
specifics.
not being honest.
I'm being honest.
No, you're not.
Because you can't name one country.
I don't care about other countries. I'm talking about America now.
Wrap up the show.
Okay, listen. Don't listen to anything he says. All right, I'm with you.
We'll see you next time. Thanks.